Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moto In Depth. First things first, ignore all these little spots. I was just out in the snow taking the trash out. It is snowing where I live, so chill out. And then we'll hit on all the main events that happened in this Triple Crown this past week. I know these are called Moto In Depth Mondays, but they are going out on Tuesdays at the point or at this moment. Been really busy this last week, and yesterday it's just starting to balance out. So I guess this morning, really. So hopefully next week we should get on to the Mondays part of Moto Mondays, or Moto In Depth Mondays. But now we're going to check out, or talk about all these injured riders, the main events, the Supercross futures, and visit a couple of my favorite segments that I'm implementing in this one. This would be the first one that I'm talking about, some of the things. So stick around, enjoy, watch the whole thing. I've got more highlights for you guys. I've got more whatever. Hopefully this one's a little bit better than the ones in the past, or I guess the one in the past and all the videos in the past. This one should be a little bit better. So we'll start off with all the injured riders. Obviously, you have Marvin Mosquito, Dylan Ferrandis, and Adam Cianciarulo, who were all sidelined this week with not severe injuries, but Marvin Muscan seems to be kind of severe, but we'll see on that. But Dylan Ferrandis, still no news on his concussion. And then Adam Cianciarulo, I didn't really dig deep into it. I just knew that he was sidelined. And it's not like sidelined indefinitely or anything like that. But those are just the brief little updates on that. And then all the 250 East riders that have injuries as well. Is a long list. So we'll just head right into the main events instead of trying to cover all of that, because that is a lot to go over to start off the video. So we'll just head into the 250 Moto 1, where Hunter gets a good start. Thrasher made a good pass past Anstey and Vial, I think it was, on that Dragon's back, and just through that back section. Got past him, moved, kind of gapped himself a little bit, gave himself some breathing room from the guys behind him through the whoops. So it was really nice to see that as well. And then, Thrasher and Hunter were just out front, kind of doing their thing. Thrasher rode spectacularly this weekend, or this past weekend, and with a torn ACL or a partially torn ACL. We don't know. He doesn't want to talk about it. Asked in the press conference, he said it's just another thing that, like, he says basically to get it out of their heads. He's still him. He's not, like, it obviously affects him. It still hurts, but I think he doesn't want to keep that around as an excuse. So I think, it's just like to he wants to move past it, but there's news reporting that it is a ACL tear, whether it's partial or not, no one knows. But I don't know. And Thrasher and Hunter, in my opinion, are in a league of their own right now. And maybe if Jordan Smith can really click with the track, then he'll have a chance. But I think right now, I think it is just Hunter and Thrasher that are in that top league, like the top tier of all the riders right now. Because you think about it and you look around, yeah, Anstey's good. Vial can be good with a good start. He's a consistent rider. Deegan definitely has that top end speed. And you've got Jordan Smith, who can maybe, come in, pop up every here and there, make an impact and whatnot. But I don't think it's quite like Thrasher and Hunter right now. Those two just seem to be, whatever. And I hate to be this guy, but I called it. You can ask any of my friends before the season started. I'm like, I'm taking Thrasher. I'm putting him at my number 3, whatever coast he puts on, at least. I mean, he is a solid rider who's been developing for 2 to 3 years now. I think he really came in underrated and then was underrated up to this point, and now we're really seeing his full potential unlocked, where he can fight for wins each and every week, except that round 1 fluke. I mean, that was really annoying, because I really thought that was going to dictate his future and whatnot. So it is what it is. Nate Thrasher at this point, like I was just talking about, he just shows so much potential, and you really wonder, how good he can be in 2 to 3 years down the road, when he's still learning and he has an ACL tear right now, allegedly. It's so cool, obviously, to see and whatnot. And then obviously we saw Deegan go down to the whoops late. He tried to blitz from the inside and just didn't quite have the drive. It looked like he tried to do that. No confirmed on that, but it looked like he tried to blitz from the inside, and didn't have the drive. Foot came off the peg, flipped up and over and whatnot. But I also do want to hit on Jordan Smith and Max Anstey are probably the next fastest guys in the class, they're probably on that next tier below Thrasher and Hunter. And they show quite a bit of success right now. They're finding a lot of them. Those two are both veterans of the sport, and they've been around for a long time. And to see them finally catching up to what they could have been a while ago, it's really cool to see and whatnot. And so there is that. I'm gonna go down to the 450 main event one. We'll go kind of in order as the races went on. Eli Roxon, Eli Tomac, and Kenny Roxon, were out 1 and 2 off the start in the first one. I thought that was super unexpected, and then we saw Chase Sexton buried all the way down in 11th. Is definitely not ideal, but did show a lot. And I mean, he made pass after pass, and after even I think the first 3 laps, he was already up into maybe even a top 6, 7 spot. So he was definitely moving. It was really cool to see Roxon and Tomac, and it was just even cooler to see Roxon get a good start and actually kind of latch on with Tomac. So I thought that was a little different thing that we saw to Ken Roxon. He wasn't moving at his own pace, or he was significantly faster or significantly slower. I think he latched on to Tomac, kind of stayed with the pace the whole race. I think that's what really helped him, and I mean, hopefully that can build some confidence for him. It's just whether or not he can do it for 20 minutes in one night. So, yeah, so Sexton actually passes all the way up for fourth with only 4 minutes remaining. Webb was solid but couldn't find more speed. I have that written down as well because he was, but he wasn't pushing the issue. He normally has that next gear when he needs and or wants it, but honestly, it didn't look like he was gonna, gouge for a win or anything like that. I think he was really emphasizing the stay consistent motto when it comes to these triple crowns. So it was really cool. Roxon stays within 2 seconds basically the whole race of within Tomac. I mean, Tomac was riding well. I don't think he was quite, oh my god, beast mode. But Roxon was able to stay within 2 seconds of him the whole entire race. Basically, I'm not sure. Maybe those first few laps he might have lost a little bit. Sorry, my hair is itchy right now. It is like all over my forehead and whatnot. Anywho, Sexton finally finds himself in third, and that one finishes up with Sexton in third, and then Tomac gets the win, and I think Roxon gets second. So pretty good stuff. I mean, Sexton had a great ride. That is highly underrated in my opinion right now. I don't hear anything. I don't see anyone talking about it. So we'll get on to the number 2. We saw Hymas and Deegan, those futures guys, really come up, and they all had good starts along with Jordan Smith and Hunter Lawrence. They all came out. Hymas and Deegan were especially looking good off of that start. Thrasher finds Hunter early with it was a clean pass. Bad run through the whoops. Not bad anticipation. It was, okay, so the corner, you guys are looking at it. Hunter had that corner. Thrasher comes up and just passed him. To me, completely clean, not aggressive even. It's just really clean. We saw Star Racing out front running top 3 with Smith, Thrasher, and Deegan. So, I mean, it was really cool to see all 3 of Star Racing's guys out there early and really not pushing the pace, but really working on, getting to that top speed that early in a race. And I think that all 3 of them have huge promise when it comes to a race win. But with Hunter Lawrence right behind them, I don't know what's going on. Another guy I do want to talk about is Michael Mosiman, someone we saw had a lot of speed these last few years, the last couple of years, maybe even 3 years. He's been a race win contender before. He's been talked about for a championship these last couple of years as well. If he can finally put those mistakes away and just show his sheer speed, maybe work on racecraft a little bit, he'll be up there. Huge drop off. I'm not sure if it's an injury. I'm not sure if it's the guys he's against. I'm not sure if it's confidence. I'm not sure what it is. Mosiman is not Mosiman this year, and I think that is really shown in these first 3 rounds. Is the fact that Mosiman has not even shown one bit of speed and potential, and that is all he was full of these last couple of years. Maybe break him down in another video because, I mean, those gas guys are always so mysterious. We saw even Barsha do this incredible this last week, in my opinion. And it was also really cool. We saw Deegan and Hymas kind of get shuffled down, but they were 5th and 6th, which is still a great place to be if you are them. I'm going to fix my hair really quick. I'll be right back. Sorry, it was really bugging me. I had to do something about it. Oh my goodness, I got the headband on now. I might not look as good as I did beforehand, but I don't care. I don't care. Listen, you guys give all your opinions. I really could care less. But back into the whole whatever. We'll talk about the Jordan Smith, and we'll talk about the top star guys up front with Smith and Thrasher. They were real up front, and they had a massive pack of lappers, and I think that kind of threw everyone off a little bit. And it was a very tough track to pass lappers and really get past them because there were so many spots where it was kind of one line, and even those lappers were taking them, and they really couldn't get out of the way. And then there was like multiple lines in one corner. Personally, I think the lappers, they should definitely do a different system. We'll hit on that in a little bit, but it was crazy. We can talk about the cross jump incident. You guys are seeing it right now. Incredible save as far as Hunter goes, because he actually almost came out of that without crashing. Jet did say that Thrasher was way out of hand right there. He says that it wasn't really whatever. It wasn't really a mistake after the fact, but he was talking about how much of a cross jump that was.
Oh, it's going to the outside. Don't case it. Ooh, yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? See that right there is what we call a bit of a cross jump. It's never nice. I know for sure I would be mad.
Painful.
Dumb move by Thrasher. They're definitely not thinking of other people's safety, and definitely probably was a dumb move under pressure. But
here it is one more time.
Oh no, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, Hunter just makes contact with his back wheel.
Idiot. Oops, my bad.
So you can say that if you're talking about your brother.
Yeah. I don't think Thrasher meant to do that completely.
Okay, I take that back.
In my opinion, it wasn't. It's suspension and whatnot. You make a mistake every here and there. Everyone does. I mean, it's still Supercross. I understand that. And so he went over, and I can't tell you exactly what happened, but he kind of went over and then like drifted off to the right. Did not mean to. Knew exactly what was wrong the second he lifted the bike off the ground. He even looked back to his right to see Hunter Lawrence in case he was going to collide. They ended up not quite colliding in air, luckily, but it was definitely a scary incident. It could have been a lot worse. Happy that they only got out how it was. In my opinion, it is a complete race incident, and Jet Lawrence was a little out of pocket with those comments afterhand, saying that these guys like aren't nearly as good as them. I mean, like, they're still the top tier of the sport, and they like sometimes you can't trust their technique or whatever it was that Hunter or that Jet said. I think he was still a little fired up about the whole thing, so it is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. My face cam in the recording is glitching all over the place. Like it's like freezing and then moving or whatever. I don't know if it's doing it in whatever, but if it is, sorry if it is happening in the video, but it is happening on OBS right now. But yeah, Smith just ended up cruising to the win. Hunter still gets third, Thrasher in second, kind of puts him in a good place for number 3 with Jordan Smith not really having the grand result he wanted it in Moto 1. If he did, he might be in this thing for the win. Even if he podiumed that first race, I think he had a really good chance of the win heading into the third. But we'll head on to the second 450 Moto. This video is going to be a long one. We're already 13 and a half minutes in. We're just getting barely even halfway in. Coop has a great start. I really like that. And then we see, everybody kind of get going. Everyone's working on it. First lap, headed into the whoops in that corner. Chase makes an early mistake, gets his back wheel kind of loose, it looked like. I didn't really watch that too many times over, and there wasn't much to really watch on it. It's just a small mistake and whatnot, so it's okay. Tomac still found himself in an okay spot in 5th. It's not where you want to be, but it is an okay spot. It's not like you're all the way back in 11th like Sexton was, and Sexton really surged back up into 3rd in that first one. You can't always get that lucky, especially if you're Tomac. Jason Anderson pushed past Webb, even though Webb had the great start in the lead for a little bit. Jason Anderson pushed pretty early to get past him and try to separate, and he did so. Tomac gets up into 3rd, starts pushing, and then with Sexton dancing right behind him, and then all the big players out front early. I mean, you had a lot of the big players that we haven't really seen come into effect this season. You had the top 3 in points, which ends up being Eli Tomac, Chase Sexton, Cooper Webb, and then you also had Roxon, Anderson, and AP all involved. I think AP is one step behind all 5 of those first guys that I talked about. And Roxon maybe is considered a little bit worse than Aaron Plessinger to this point, and whatnot. And Jason Anderson has just as much potential as anybody else in the class right now. So we'll see if he can really carry in a little bit of momentum headed into that headed into the next race after getting one of these main event wins. But Tomac gets to 3rd, starts pushing. I already said all that. That's pretty cool. You could really tell that Sexton was riding a little safe for sure. He looked like he was trying to stay away from mistakes, especially after making the first one in the first lap. Even even if it's a back wheel sliding out a little bit, you don't even get a good run through the whoops, and you maybe fall back a little bit. But I mean, you could tell he was really not that same burner he has been these last few weeks and like through the first half of the season so far. He has been known for his incredible speed and the amount of just pure talent and speed that he shows. Technique is insane. And then something did look a little bit off. I mean, Sexton definitely looked a little bit more stiff than usual in this race, and it looked like it was scary to see him actually get loose when he normally gets loose. Like over the Dragon's back, he ended up having what looked like a scary moment, but that's just him riding. But that is just the way that I didn't expect him to go over that jump, just because of how tight he was kind of riding, if that makes any sense. But one thing he was doing for sure was Sexton was definitely clicking in the whips, and he looked a lot better than Tomac did through him, which is crazy considering how well Tomac's bikes works. But I guess it's only good through difficult whoops. Sexton really started dancing all over Tomac's backside in third and fourth. I mean, Tomac was really trying to keep that podium spot, but Sexton just made gash after gash and tried to show him front wheel after front wheel, corner after corner. Finally found home, gets into third with 5 minutes less. With 5 minutes left, had clear track, gets right back up to the back end of Cooper Webb with not even too much to go and whatnot. 2 laps even after passing Tomac, he was right there after Anderson had already broken off and built his lead. Tomac ends up settling for the fourth, and then Jason Anderson wins. Coop ends up second, and then Chase Sexton is a close third. In that second one, we'll go up and talk about the final 250 Moto. Crazy start with the crash, and Mosiman finally had the opportunity to start out front with these guys. Thrasher was out front, Jordan Smith in third. Anstey and Hunter were moving through the pack together after the little mishap. Not much happened for a while, and then all of a sudden, Mosiman goes down, affects a bunch of riders under that tunnel. He really did affect a lot of riders, and they were going in. I think 3 of them actually had to come to like a complete full stop, and then until someone really learned what was going on, they had to roll really slow. Really gave Thrasher it gave him a good, clean, fresh air out front, with Jeremy Martin in second now after everybody else was kind of affected. Hunter and Anstey have moved to top 10 with the 2 minutes left. Thrasher ends up going down in the whoops. I mean, it is crazy the way that all went. All 3 of the Star Racing guys actually ended up going down in the whoops. I think even one was in one moto. Second moto was I can't. No, it was Thrasher and Smith both go down in the whoops in this one. But Thrasher, it wasn't too big of a deal. He got back up in third, still in a very much winning position. Jordan Smith was going for it, and then ended up pushing those whoops a little too much, pushing the issue, and goes down as well. Jeremy ends up winning, but Jeremy Martin wins, and then Thrasher ends up getting the overall there in the 250 class, so that was pretty fun. And then this third 450 main event was really fun. Definitely Tomac, he had that crazy line selection on the start where he was actually going from 3 spots outside of the doghouse and shooting in and trying to angle the corner correctly, and he actually hole shotted off of it. And then Sexton was out in second. Webb starts in fifth. Barcia held up well in third and could be a legit winner this season. I think that the speed he showed this season, or this past race, was incredible in that main event 3. It's just that mistake that really screwed him over. So it is what it is. Anderson and Webb both on the backside of Sexton. It was wasn't scary to see after Sexton's minor mistake. So basically what happened was they're going through the whoops. Barcia basically barreled over the top of the berm, and then right after the whoops, and then they took the corner after the whoops and into the next flat corner. Sexton, I think, just trusted the bike a little too much. Even said he was coming in way too hot. He says it was a stupid mistake. Anyways, goes down with a minor mistake, but gets up really quick. And then Barcia also had his mistake. It wasn't as minor. He ended up, it costed him quite a bit. Anderson and Webb were both there. And then Webb started to attack Jason Anderson, and then they start to really yo-yo. So basically what that means is they were stretching in, back out, and then back in. And what it was Cooper Webb was faster pretty much the whole track until they get to a certain point. Webb would show him a wheel. He would lose traction, whatever. And Jason Anderson would take the main line and still continue to just gain whatever it was. So it was fine. And then Tomac ended up going down and falls all the way to fourth. And then that leads Sexton, or that means Sexton out with the lead with Anderson and Webb fighting right behind him. Sexton in first, but isn't pulling away. He was riding so safe. I think it was a little even too safe the way that he was riding. I already hit on this kind of earlier, but he looked like he would leave Sexton, or he'd leave Webb in the dust in a second. Maybe not Jason Anderson, but it was Webb that was in second, and Jason Anderson, or was it? I think it was Jason Anderson in second, and then Webb ended up getting past for second and whatnot, and then and whatnot. So I don't know. It's so tough to tell. If Sexton were to push a little bit harder, how far out would have he gotten? But I think that he definitely had a lot more than he was showing, for sure. Webb found his way past Anderson via mistake in later in the race for second, and then hit on the worst lapper incident ever. Cue the clip. This is the dumbest stuff I've ever seen. I mean, you look at the guys and, jeez, dude. Grant Harlan, I understand. So what happened was he saw Sexton on his left, and so he ended up going over to the right. But Sexton already changed his mind, said he's going to hop into the main line, wanted to protect the inside from Cooper Webb, and just pulled over into the main line. Grant Harlan went into the main line. So what are you going to do, man? It's so stupid. You've got to make a better system for lappers. Maybe that's another video for down the road and whatnot, and like what I would do if I were the AMA or whatever. But it's just so ridiculous, man. It is pretty crazy. It's pretty stupid. Late race, we've seen lappers countless amount of times affect a race. And do you really want them affecting a championship and being like, that's what I'm saying. If it comes down to a championship and a lap rider gets in the way, well, well, no, it's so stupid. You're letting someone, no offense to all the lappers and whatnot, someone that couldn't keep at the leader's pace getting lapped, and they have an effect on the race. It's ridiculous and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know. If I were Harlan, the only thing I do is start to slow up and just move forward. Just keep moving forward. Stay where you are. Let them dictate where they're gonna go. Don't pull into the main line. It's that simple. Don't pull into the main line. It's so stupid. Webb was jumping through the whoops, and it actually looked faster halfway. What am I saying? Like all the way at the end of the moto. Ended up getting away from Sexton a little bit. Sexton was trying to make a push, but couldn't really get there. It's just the stupidest incident I've ever seen. Tomac gets passed by Roxon early, and then Plessinger later, and then Tomac moves all the way back to 6th, finishes there. Yeah, Webb wins the overall, and that main event 3. Dumb mistake, dumb stupid thing that Grant Harlan did there. Dumb incident. Happy to see Webb win and his baby's face at the end. That was really funny, really cool. Whatnot. It's cool. We'll hit on the futures really quick. I want to talk about how incredible Daxton Bennick looks. Are you kidding? The guy looks insane. In my opinion, this past week, he actually looked a little bit better than Hayden Deegan, and he had a way more chewed up track than Hayden Deegan did. Maybe not in that number 3, but in that number 2 and whatnot. And Bennick just ended up pulling the whole shot, checks out, and then Boomer, whatever you want to call him, Orange Brigade, number 29 on the KTM, was pretty good. I liked him when he was on that the Yamaha at the first round of the futures. I really thought that he had something in him, and it still looks like it. I mean, he put on an incredible charge at the end, made a little mistake in the whoops, though. Bennick doing his thing through the dragon back, that was huge. He was doing like a roll double and then jumping over the top 2 whoops of the dragon's back, keeping it so low. Looked faster than most of the 250 guys, what they were doing in that second moto even. So I thought it was really cool to see Bennick really checking out and doing his own lines. I thought that was really cool. He improvises so well in the whoops as well. I want to talk about this. I saw it in practice a lot too. And then you guys are seeing the massive wheelie he pulled through those whoops. And to me, it shows so much, and he uses his size so well. He's a taller guy for sure. And so he can pretty much not put the bike wherever he wants, but in a certain instant, you can use your length to pull and carry weight around. And I think he does that significantly better than most tall riders I've seen. He definitely understands the concept of using and maneuvering a dirt bike. I think that his technique will be unmatched in maybe 3-4 years time, and I'm not even scared to say this. I think that he might even be better than Deegan in the long run. But Deegan is such a promising prospect, and it's hard to say that. I say that the chances aren't as high, but I'm saying that there's a chance, and I'm not saying I prefer Bennick over Deegan at this point. I'm saying that in the long run, complete total ceiling, when they're both in the 450 class and both 7 years in or 6 years in or whenever their prime is, maybe even 3 or 2 years in, I think that Bennick might actually have a higher ceiling than Hayden Deegan, which is absolutely crazy. I know this is an incredible bold take. I know you guys don't want to hear it, but it is what it is. And then we'll go head to progression point. Don't know what the hell those finger guns were. I need to stop. I need to calm down. I need to rebuttal. I need to... Okay. Progression point, Hayden Deegan and Justin Cooper is the two we'll hit on. Hayden Deegan has progressed well. 2/4 in the first two. And then ends up, winning that heat race. And then this one showed a little bit. I mean, his start was kind of off in main number 1. I think he pushed the issue. I think he got a little ahead of himself and made that mistake, and it was costly for sure. Still up there. I mean, he still could finish top 5 in the championship, and it would not surprise me too. Whatever. We saw Justin Cooper end up finishing 7th or 8th, maybe even 9th in that last, or in that second one. I can't remember which one it was, but he had a really good start in one of those. I think he even hole shotted in one of those races in one of those Triple Crown mains. And he looked poised out there, but he let these guys go past him pretty quick. Not surprising, but I think that he does have a bright future on the 450. I think he's 26 or 7, still generally kind of younger. I mean, he might even be 24. I could be just speaking out my ass, but Rocky Rides, now we'll get to Eli Tomac and Hunter Lawrence, both probably some of the highly touted guys of their class at this point. And Eli Tomac probably highly expected to win now. Hunter Lawrence supposed to as well. Both of them don't get the result they want. I think they both got 3rd, or I think Hunter might have still got 2nd. I don't know. I think Hunter did get 3rd. I don't know where my brain's at right now, but yeah, they both. I think it's pretty much speaks for itself. Just tough rides for both of them. And we'll hit on fun and fluid and the guys that just kind of float around the track and were looking a little bit better than not everybody else, but looked more. I don't know how to say this. Fun and fluid. They look more fluid than other people. They look like they're having more fun than other people. Jason Anderson out there on the 450 for sure. Got to hit on him first. He was gelling. He always looks loose and he always looks like he's having fun, but this week especially he looked very fluid in that number 2, in that main event number 2. I mean, he was really just flowing out front. And then Nate Thrasher, even in practice, and then all of his mains, he wasn't forcing the issue in some corners where he was kind of taking the bad lines and whatnot, but he was still flowing and just going all around fast. I mean, we saw him hold up to a Hunter pace for a decent amount of time. I don't think that he'll ever quite have the ceiling of Hunter Lawrence, but I think that Nate Thrasher right now is at a very solid point, and I'm excited to see what he does in the future. But that'll be all for Moto In-Depth Monday, Tuesday thing that we got going on here. So yeah, that'll be all for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys can consider liking the video and or subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I'll have to see you guys next time. Happy I can break down the races for you guys, and hopefully you guys appreciate what I'm doing here as well. So see you guys.